Okay, so at the end of my last video where I showed my CDs, I said I was going to go right into the vinyl. Well, I realized that would be way too long, so I'm making it two separate um, videos, one for the CDs, one for the LPs, and others items. So let's get into it with the LPs. Okay, so we'll start with Nils Lofgren, who you may know from the Bruce Springsteen band. This is Night After Night, a live album. This was his third album released. So, of course, it includes live versions of many of the songs from his first two albums. The first album, fantastic. It's called, maybe it's called Nils Lofgren. It's called the Fat Man album. So you look for the album. It's got like Nils leaning up against a wall. There's a bulletin board or poster or something of a cartoonish like Fat Man, and he's leaning up against it with one hand and drinking. But anyway, this has got Back It Up, the song Back It Up, which I believe on this is edited down. It's shorter than it was originally performed, so that might be a little bit disappointing. Keith Don't Go, great song. Cry Tough, which I think is the name of his second album. Going back, Incidentally It's Over, I Came to Dance, great. Then I picked up John Denver, One World. Now, John Denver is an artist that, I loved back in the day, back in the 70s, Take Me Home Country Roads, Rocky Mountain High, and Annie's Song and all that. Kind of lost interest in him a little bit, but by the time the 80s came, I was into new wave more than anything else, and Elvis Costello, Dave Edmunds, and stuff like that. But more recently, I've rekindled my interest in John Denver. I've picked up a couple of his albums. So when I see them, like this one, for example, I'll pick them up. I don't necessarily go out seeking John Denver albums, but if I'm going through some, a stack and I'm going through, like, let's say the D's and I happen to see John Denver in there or whatever, I'll pick it up. So I'm not really familiar with this album at all, but I figured I'm going to give it a chance. I also picked up Love. Now, I've got all of Love's. I love Love, by the way. Love's a 60s group. I have all of their albums, probably all of, well, I thought all of the collections. I didn't have this one, though. This is the Golden Archive series. And I'll show you the back and that track listing, if I can. There you go. So very similar to some of the other collections that they have. My Little Red Book, Can't Explain, Hey Joe, Sign DC, Stephanie Knows Who, She Comes in Colors, Your Mind and We Belong Together, 7 and 7 Is, Number 14, Alone Again, and More Again. They're all on here. But this also has Your Friend and Mine, Neil's song, and Kavita and Robert Montgomery, which you don't typically see. Orange Skies is on here. So really good collection of music from Love. Then I picked up the B-52s Party Mix. Love the B-52s, and in fact, I'm going to be seeing them in October. So great to get this, and of course, it's all mixes of some of their party songs, 6 of them, as a matter of fact. Party Out of Bounds, Private Idaho, Give Me Back My Man. Love that song. Love Cindy's performance on that. She's absolutely adorable. Lava, love that song too. Dance This Mess Around, 52 Girls. These are all great songs. I mean, come on. Party with the B-52s. I happened to mention Dave Edmunds before, and I guess subconsciously, I should have realized, as I was in a record store, I got up to this section and I saw Dave Edmunds, and it reminded me of how ill he's been. I haven't checked his status. I don't honestly know at this point, but I know he was not well. And I saw these albums. I knew I didn't have them. And I said, let me buy these, because I happen to know that this particular store that I bought them in, not Joe Mayo's store, not Infinity, a different one, will always almost double or certainly jack up the price of any artist that passes away. And I hate to say it, but the minute Dave Edmunds passes away, these albums were going to be much more expensive. And I got these really dirt cheap. So this one is I Hear You Rockin', Dave Edmunds Live. What's that song list? Oh, yeah, this one's going to be hard. It's up there and over there. I picked up Dave Edmunds' Riff Raff. Show you that track listing. I picked up, and this one I might have even had. I'll have to double check this information. More Dave Edmunds. And I guess that's it for Dave Edmunds. Kiki Dee, Stay With Me. You may remember Kiki Dee from her big hit with Elton John, Don't Go Breaking My Heart, and or possibly from her own hit, I've Got the Music in Me, which was off of her first amazing album. That's a really good album. I also picked up, you probably can't read that, The Grassroots. This is the ABC collection. And yes, I have Grassroots collection, but this one seems a little bit different. It's got, all their big hits are on here, obviously. Where Were You When I Needed You, Let's Live for Today, Things I Should Have Said, Midnight Confessions is on here, Bella Linda, The River Is Wide, Wait a Million Years, Heaven Knows, it's all on Temptation Eyes. And I like the envelope type of packaging, and this comes out, not a whole lot to look at, nothing in here, but it's different, and I like different type of packaging, so glad to have this. It wasn't that expensive, and because I felt like, sometimes greatest hits isn't all you need, and I wanted to explore more of the Grassroots, or at least the original members of the Grassroots. So they had this, and I picked up this as well. This is Leaving It All Behind. And this has Heaven Knows and Wait a Million Years on it. I'll open this up. Got some pictures here, as well as the very familiar picture by the truck. And I was earlier talking about John Denver as an artist who, as I see albums, kind of got back into, and I'll pick it up. Well, here comes another artist who I really got into in the 70s. What was it, 75? With Frampton Comes Alive. Didn't everybody? Everybody had that, or certainly listened to that album. And at the time, I remember listening to his studio albums and not being particularly impressed, because I was just blown away by Frampton Comes Alive. But more recently, I kind of got into Peter Frampton again, because, and I can thank Paul for this one, Fit to be Tie-Dyed. You may see him or know him from the Doc Dacus show, Thursday Night Soup, and as well as his Sunday show, where he goes live. And Paul was talking about Peter Frampton, and I think specifically like newer music. And I listened to it and enjoyed it and bought it. And then I started to buy some of the 90s stuff that he did. And it's like, you know what? I missed out on like some really good music. So much like John Denver, if I'm in a store and I see something and it's like not outrageously priced, I'm going to pick it up. So I picked up Frampton, and this is kind of like an early album. Many of the songs here you know from the live album. Show Me the Way, Baby I Love Your Way, Penny for Your Thoughts, I'll give you money. And then I picked up Peter Frampton, Premonition. And this album is from, 1986 it looks like. So a little Phantom of the Opera type thing going on here. I got more coming. Hold on. I've also picked up Danny Kirwan, who you may know as the singer-songwriter and guitarist for Fleetwood Mac before Stevie and Lindsay joined the group and brought them, catapulted them to worldwide fame. Danny had some really great songs that he wrote for Fleetwood Mac. He was a fantastic guitarist in the group. So glad to have that. I picked up ABBA, Voulez-Vous. Not one of their better albums, but and honestly, like after hearing like Dancing Queen and Mamma Mia and all that, Voulez-Vous is the song itself's a bit of a letdown. But I listened to this. It's okay. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for ABBA at the time. Here's a new album that I bought. A lot of these others were used, obviously, but this is brand spanking new, Margot Price. I do like country. I do like Margot Price. And I saw this in Barnes & Noble, and it's a limited edition yellow vinyl. So let's see what the yellow looks like. If I can get this out, here we go. A nice picture of Margot there. Some credits. And then we got, yes. Nice. I don't know if it's coming across as well on the camera, but it's in the yellow family, but it looks to me more like melon than, it's not lemon yellow, it's more melon, but tasty nevertheless. I'm sure Beetle Brad's loving it. I know he loves his colored vinyl. So, and this one was on sale, so that's good. Then I picked up, back to the used stuff, the Beach Boys and Jan and Dean for $4. So that's only $2 a group. Now I'm telling jokes like Beetle Brad. Sorry, Brad. So it's got, Surfing USA, I Get Around, Shut Down, Fun, Little Deuce Coupe by the Beach Boys. And then for Jan and Dean, you've got Drag City, Honolulu Lulu, Dead Man's Curve, Surf City, Little Old Lady from Pasadena. Which, of course, the Beach Boys did too, but there you go. This I actually picked up there was a record store that, and maybe I showed this already, a record store had bought a collection from a gentleman who had very extensive collection. And I went there. It was like you had to get a wristband. They only let 100 people in. And I saw this and said, you know what? I probably don't need it, but it's a picture disc. Pretty cool. Here's the track listing. So it's got some unusual, if you're not a real like Beatles fan, you may not be familiar with these songs. So, my sister, for example, wouldn't know these, I don't think. And I apologize if you do. But I don't think she's ever heard the Beatles singing Besame Mucho. I also got, speaking of picture discs, Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road picture disc. And it's sealed. So I am actually not going to open this up at this time because I'm not convinced I necessarily want to open it. I've got this album multiple times. Let's just put it that way. In the same place I got the other Beatles, I picked this up, the Beatles Sessions. Again, different type of music. This is 14 previously unreleased tracks from the vaults. And I think we all know them by now. I think the vault has long been open with these. This too has Besame Mucho. It's got One After 909, which is a mono mix recorded and mixed on March 5th, 1963. If You Got Troubles, great song that honestly I think they should have had on an album way back when. While My Guitar Gently Weeps with the original ending. Christmas Time Is Here Again. How Do You Do It? Which George Martin wanted them to do as their first single. Leave My Kitten Alone, Not Guilty. So a lot of great stuff on there. Sally Towns, Jackrabbit. The cover looked interesting. She was giving me sort of Helen Schneider vibes here. So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy this and see what this is all about. It looks like she is a songwriter. She wrote most of the songs on here, but she does a cover of You Don't Bring Me Flowers, the Neil Diamond song, and Knocks Me Off My Feet, Stevie Wonder, the last two songs. So I said, hey, this is going to come hopping home with me. Then I picked up, and I may get some flack for this one. It's not Taylor Swift. Carrie Underwood, Greatest Hits #1. Greatest Hits Decade #1. On silver vinyl, 2 LPs for $15. So pretty good deal. Looking kind of classy. And I know some of her earlier songs. Obviously, I know Jesus Take the Wheel. Don't Forget to Remember Me, Before He Cheats. But a lot of these I wasn't really familiar with. I did listen to the album, and it's really pretty good. I'm not convinced she needed a Greatest Hits 2 CD set, but there it is. And I will show you, since it's on silver colored vinyl, I will show you that. I can get this open. The big reveal. And yes, this time it actually looks silver. So kudos, Carrie. Unlike the yellow that was more melon than anything else. And then I got one last vinyl collection to show you. And I mentioned before how I like packaging sometimes. The heart and soul of rock and roll. This is a Reader's Digest collection. So what's on it? I'm thinking that maybe when this was sealed, they may have had a piece of paper or something here, because otherwise I don't know how you know what songs make up the heart of rock and roll. but of course, many of us can guess. So when you pull this out, there it is. And your eyes are not deceiving you. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 albums, 7 records for $5. So what's on here? Well, we can read that. We can pull this out and take a look. We've got a couple different things in here. You see Buddy Holly. I can't see who this is over here. Oh, the Platters. There you go. It's hard to see backwards, but what else we have here? Fats. Domino. Chuck Berry. Is that Jerry Lee Lewis over there? So pretty cool 7 record collection. Rock and Roll Music by Chuck Berry. It's also got You Send Me, Sam Cooke, A Whole Lot of Lovin', Fats Domino, Rockin' Robin by Bobby Day, See You Later, Alligator, Bill Haley and His Comets, Come Go With Me, The Del Vikings, Put Your Head on My Shoulder, Paul Anka, 16 Candles, Crests, Bo Diddley by Bo Diddley, Good Johnny B. Good, obviously, Chuck Berry, At the Hop, Danny and the Juniors, Love is Strange, Mickey and Sylvia. There's so many great hits on here. To Know Him is to Love Him, the Teddy Bears. So really happy to get these records. I hope they sound pretty decent. Haven't played them yet, but we shall see. But again, really nice collection. Now, on to the last few items I got. And this is something that I happen to just be browsing through the Facebook Marketplace, and I saw some Paul McCartney items, specifically items related to his 2022 Got Back tour. And I saw him during that tour. And these were VIP items. I didn't go the VIP route, but given an opportunity to get some of these things, I said, hey, why not? And as it turns out, actually, when I contacted the individual who had posted them for sale, she said, my husband will meet you at this specific location. Okay, fine. So I went there. I met her husband. He comes out of the car. I recognized his face instantly. I said, I know you from Infinity Records or some record store. It turns out and he had seen me, so we kind of like knew of each other, although we didn't know each other. So now I do. But anyway, let me just get these items to show you. And, oops, look what's in here. My 3D glasses from my JAWS 50th anniversary 3D experience. Amazing, amazing. I am so glad I got to see that with Joe Mayo. Thank you, Joe. He got to see it, I think, 3 times. Today's September 6th, and it was only through September 4th. If you saw it, kudos to you. Great experience. And they had it, just regular theater. They had it in IMAX, and then they had the 3D. And I had never seen 3D. It wasn't originally shot in 3D, but I said, you know what? Let's see what this is all about. It was amazing to see it like that. Absolutely. And parts of it, it was like, it was literally coming out of the screen. And like, for example, when Chrissy is attacked in the beginning, you feel like you're there in the water with her, like next to her. And she's moving around as the shark takes her. And at one point, she's like literally coming at you. And it was like, wow, this is like blowing my mind. Anyway, back to Paul McCartney. I get easily sidetracked, I guess. Here we go. I got a lanyard for the Paul McCartney Got Back tour. I also have a magnet, VIP, row 1. That's just printed on all of them. It's not necessarily where anybody is sitting for this. It comes with this expand or collapse bottle. I'll show you that. Pretty cool coloration. The only way you know it's anything from Paul McCartney is it has it right here on the top of the bottle. And I think I have to open this a little to expand it. And it collapses. So that's cool. And then finally, Paul McCartney Got Back blanket. And it comes with a little handle. You can carry this around and open it up. So I'm not going to open it all the way, but really cool. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it was so long, but thank you for sticking with me, and stay well, friends. And remember, if the music strikes a chord, buy it and let it play.